defending. I think it's like.
Mohamed Salah against Arne Slot. I've seen a lot of noise about this on social media. Obviously, Arsenal losing to Aston Villa had all my attention, and I've seen the whole stuff, and you do get thinking, but I actually don't know what's going on. So I'm going to read what this stuff that Salah is alleged to have said and done after, obviously, Liverpool drawing with Leeds. And I must admit, Arsenal winning, losing, drawing, Arsenal in general is normally the greatest talking point in football media week in, week out. And it's obviously sour to lose, and I'm being a bit silly, but it's nice to see this ain't like no one really cares about my team for a minute with Salah and Arne Slot. But let's see exactly what's happening. Obviously, we know Liverpool having a terrible time, and naturally, when you're in a bad run of form, even where draws are actually positive owing to Liverpool's form, they don't really do much. There's obviously pressure on Arne Slot, on every player, and it comes with the territory of doing well or not doing well. Managing a big club, because this time last year it was different with Liverpool. But Arne Slot has given an interview. Mohamed Salah allegedly. So let's see what he has said. Read Salah's interview in full. So now I'm going to finally have an informed opinion. Let me zoom in. What were you thinking sat on the bench? I don't know what to say. It's funny, but I couldn't believe it. It is a really disappointing result for us as a team because we expect to win a game like that. We managed to score 2 goals in the beginning and the game was going in our direction, but we conceded silly goals. I'm not attacking my teammates because I was on the bench, but we conceded silly goals as we did before. We just have to try to keep a clean sheet and win games, people, which obviously is true. At the end of the day, it was a draw between Liverpool and Leeds. Football's decided in both boxes. You don't defend and attack well enough, typically you don't win. And it's another game where, a draw isn't good enough for Liverpool and kind of the same old issues rear its head. I do kind of, when you look at how the game was going, I do understand attack's the best form of defense. Mohamed Salah form is temporary, class is permanent. Bringing him on, he could have scored a goal, but I understand the substitutions Arne Slot made in principle to try and see out the game. And obviously, everybody at Liverpool, in terms of the players, has been stinking out the joint. So no matter how good you are as a footballer, when that happens, you have to pick what the manager believes is the best 11 in the manager's defense. And there has been a couple of wins, a few draws. It clearly isn't working, and I won't say it's been working without Salah, but the main thing is getting some points. He's got to save his old job and things. So the main thing is getting points. And if he reckons it's time to muck in and Salah isn't the best option, then on that hand or on that front, everyone can be dropped. Obviously, you're only as good as your last game, and we're all aware of what Liverpool are in. But again, when you consider what I call football political, Mohamed Salah is a big character. Mohamed Salah is a big player, big character on big money. I'm sure, regardless of his quality, when it comes to the age he's at, the season he had last year, what's to come in hindsight, the money around giving him a new contract and justifying those means, obviously he's a world-class player. A lot of people had to advocate for that. And there might have been some pushback, like, oh, we've seen big players stink up the gaff after signing a new deal, etc., etc. So from that perspective, simply put, you have to justify when you're on 400 grand a week. You have to play the player. Like, even if Liverpool for the next 3, 4, 5 games or 10 games on the spin started picking up 3 points, and we assume Salah is on the bench. Now, from a footballing point of view, there's every reason to, you get where I'm going. They're picking up points, but it's not a long-term fix. And again, naturally, for Arne Slot, for Salah to come out and say this, maybe there's frustration. I do think Salah is scapegoated by Jamie Carragher in particular, and it must hurt being Mr. Liverpool, being a decisive player, having a great season last year in terms of winning the league, and individual season in terms of what he did in terms of the numbers. Salah's had great seasons, but the last season in particular, against all of his others, you'd have to ask a Liverpool fan, you could reckon in terms of his individual body of work, that's probably his best season. So it is dramatic, and everybody could be dropped, but for Salah to come out and say this, maybe it's a bit of mind games. Maybe, there is losing the dressing room. All it takes to do is lose 2 of the big heavyweights in your dressing room. That spreads to everyone else. And ultimately, it's easier to sack a manager than to get rid of Salah, regardless of his wages and everything else in principle. But maybe this could be water under the bridge, but surely, something's got to be done here, people. We managed to score 2 goals in the beginning, and the game was going in our direction, but we can see the silly goal. Oh, sorry, we've gone over that. What couldn't you believe? He was asked by a reporter. That I'm sitting on the bench for 90 minutes, the third time on the bench. I think for the first time in my career, I'm very, very disappointed, to be fair. Now, when I think of Mohamed Salah, I think of adversity. When he returned to England versus when he left with Chelsea, different sort of players. Had to prove people wrong. And I'm sure he wants to play a part. And I'm sure when you look at Mo Salah, he's not an idiot. You know, he knows I've got no divine right to play. My form has been on question. But I think he wants to help. Professional footballers are prideful, signed a new deal, love Liverpool, wants to get them out of this, wants to help in his own way, but he sat on the bench. And evidently, obviously, no player wants to be on the bench. Now, if this was another player that come out and said this, we might look a bit differently. We might speak a bit differently. There might be a bit of different reaction. I've done so much for this club down the years, and especially last season. Now I'm sitting on the bench and I don't know why. Now, it could be from a footballing point of views, but if he doesn't know why he's on the bench, I'm sure Arne Slot's explained that to him. But at the same time, if I assume he doesn't, and I assume man management isn't under control at Liverpool for Arne Slot in particular, on top of the footballing results, you can see the writing on the wall, people. It seems like the club is... Now I'm sitting on the bench and I don't know why. It seems like the club has thrown me under the bus. That's how I am feeling. I think it's very clear that someone wanted me to get all the blame. That could be the manager. That could be people behind the scenes. I would imagine there'd be more people behind the scenes that advocate for Salah to start because of this could become a thing. They're not. But, you know, he's allowed to feel like that. You know, you got to remember, being a footballer can be lonely. We need to think of it from his perspective and mental health. But if I heard that the club, now the club is, you know, there's many individuals in the club, but you know, and I'm sure it's emotional. They've lost, you know, he's on the bench, all of these things. But if I was a Liverpool fan, when I hear the club, I'd think, what do you mean by that? Because it can't be. Are you talking about the fans? Are you talking about, you know, characters that are part of the culture stuff? Are you talking about Arne Slot? Are you talking about above board? To be fair, if you consider Mohamed Salah's form, yeah, the fact that he's going to AFCON, I'm not gonna. It sounds mad to say drop him and things like that, but maybe there's indirectly Slot's even been preparing for post Mohamed Salah life, and generally that is something for Liverpool to consider. I'm sure there's probably a bag of rumors with Salah now. If I type in his name, he's probably been linked to Saudi and things of that ilk. People, it's crazy. But I would look at that a bit funny, like somebody at the club or the club are throwing me under the bus. I got a lot of promises in the summer, and so far I'm on the bench for 3 games, so I can't say they keep their promise. Ooh, who are they though? Because he keeps saying the club, and says they. He hasn't necessarily said Arne Slot. So again, is there a message from above Arne Slot, and not this isn't necessarily Salah versus Slot? There's many ways of interpreting this, which I think if I was a Liverpool fan, obviously the team's a bit of a stress right now. This is just another unneeded kind of thing, if I'm honest. But he said he's got promises, feels a bit let down, doesn't understand why he's on the bench. It does feel a bit worries me, but it also feels like I think I've been done in an injustice. I've said many times before that I had a good relationship with the manager, and now all of a sudden we don't have any relationship. I don't know why, but it seems to me how I see it that someone doesn't want me at the club. Oh, so he could be doing the ambiguous thing and saying that somebody at the club. But now it goes back to Arne Slot. We had a good relationship. We ain't got one now. I've been promised. I'm on the bench. I feel like I'm being scapegoated. You know, you do have to manage the egos of the superstar players. Maybe Slot has benched him and not had a conversation. But to be fair to Slot, as good as Salah is, if we just look at it, Liverpool are stinking up the gaff. I need to get 3 points. We still have a mathematical chance of the Premier League. That's going away. We're going to have to try and claw back our season somehow. I ain't really got time to care about the feelings of Mohamed Salah versus the other 20-odd players in the team. And obviously, me need to get 3 points, really, because it's my job. You know, I don't know how long Arne Slot's got on his contract, but boy, and a lot of my Liverpool fans supporting friends have questioned some of his management. You know how fans are like, why isn't he playing that Rio and Goma? Because he made the point to me when Arsenal's thinking out the gaff, young players got an opportunity. You know, why do certain players get starts and certain people get dropped? You know, how's Hugo Ekitike feeling with the whole Isaac stuff? So it is interesting how they're going to manage these egos, people. This is crazy, though. This club, I always support it. My kids will always support it. I love the club so much. I always do. I called my mum yesterday. You guys didn't know if I would start or not, but I knew. Yesterday, I said to them, come to the Brighton game. I don't know if I'm going to play or not, but I'm going to enjoy it. In my head, I'm going to enjoy that because I don't know what's going to happen now. What does that mean? Does that mean I'm preparing for an exit? Does that mean there's been a change of heart? Very ambiguous. I'll be in Anfield to say goodbye to the fans and go to the Africa Cup of Nations. I don't know what's going to happen when I'm there. So again, he might be acting a bit. I'm not necessarily say I'm leaving, but this adds fuel to the speculation. Could I go to it? Could I be set for a January exit to somewhere else in Europe? Could I go to Saudi? You know, is there another twist that we don't know? But that's him saying, I love the club. My friends and family love the club. You know, I want to help the club. But I think he's putting it at the feet of Arne Slot. And I wonder what training is going to be like. The respect I want to get, I don't have to go every day fighting for my position because I earned it. I'm not bigger than anyone, but I earned my position. It's football. It is what it is now. Have you played your last game for Liverpool? And I'm sure his agent is scheduling a meeting with Liverpool's hierarchy. In football, you never know. I don't accept this situation. I have done so much for this club. With respect, I love everyone. I love Haaland. I will talk about him. I am the current top goal scorer in the Premier League. Damn. It's not yet. He's going to win it, hopefully, and that's fine for him. I love him, and he knows that. I am the top goal scorer, best player winning the league in such style, but I am the one who has to defend himself in front of the media and fans. So he feels a bit let down. He doesn't feel like he's having a free trial. And then he said, does it hurt you more? Absolutely. After what I've done for this club, it really hurts. You can imagine after going from the club home to the club, and you don't know if you're starting. I know the club too well. I've been here many years. Tomorrow, Jamie Carragher is going to go for me again and again, and that's fine. Do you know what I like? That's one thing I say. Like, I do like that because I do think Jamie Carragher leads a bit of a hate campaign to Mohamed Salah. No other Liverpool fan, just Jamie Carragher and Mohamed Salah. And I do think pundits you can be honest, you can have an opinion, you can say Salah's stinking out the gaff, but I do think you have a duty of care. When you say the same things enough times, or when you lead agendas, it starts to become like the narrative, if that makes sense, people. So this is more interesting than I actually thought, people. Saudi interest. I don't want to answer this because the club is going to take me to a different direction. I cannot say it's impossible, but from what I feel, I've done so much for the club. I love the fans in the club so much. I don't know what's going to happen next. So this is one thing, guy, that's saying, I listen. I understand this mad form, all those things, but end of the day, I'm Mo Salah. I want to help the team. I'm not on this being on the bench thing. Something needs to change sooner rather than later. Again, smash the like button and let me know what you think, people. And then just further speaking about doubt. I've been at this club scoring more than anyone in this generation. Since I came to the Premier League, I don't think anyone has more goals and even more assists than me in the whole Premier League. If I am somewhere else, everybody would go to the media and defend the players. I am the only one in this situation. To be fair, us Arsenal fans see our players get slated. I remember a while ago, Harry Kane was not scoring for 10 games. Everyone in the media was like, oh, Harry will score again for sure. But when it comes to Mo Salah, everyone needs to be on the bench. I'm sorry, Harry. To be fair, I understand this angle. It's not always me. It's like there's one rule for others and the next for other people. And it's like, from what I'm getting is, I understand the fair criticism, but everyone's making out that it's all Mohamed Salah's fault. And if you're going to criticize me for not scoring, remember, form is temporary, class is permanent. Rightly or wrongly, if I grab some games, you can see what I'm on. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. When asked on people wanting him out. No, don't put words in my mouth from the situation. I see it when asked about the sporting director. When asked about explanations and communications, I did, but I don't see an explanation. Like I knew yesterday I was not going to play, and that's it. So take it and swallow it and go home. Were you told personally you weren't going to be played by Arne Slot? Yeah, he told me yesterday. I had a meeting with him. Oh, now that changes things on for Mohamed Salah, because if Arne Slot's had a meeting with you and explained it to you, maybe he's told you that it's not really my decision, and I can't imagine that because you just signed a new deal, so it's not a political thing. I'm not playing. You can't really complain. Maybe you feel like you're training well and everything else I've said, but fundamentally the gaffer's not playing me. I want to play games, so I'm going to create this bit of a circus, and maybe I'll go on Slot after this interview. Got a bit of a call from maybe an owner or a director saying, "Listen, why aren't you playing Salah? You need to come to a resolution because." You said you don't have a relationship with him anymore. Maybe you made all of these things clear. But if a man told you yesterday in the meeting and you're doing this today, to be fair, Salah, it makes you look like a bit of a weasel, if I'm honest. Did you let your feelings be known then? Were you disappointed? He knows my feeling. He knows my feelings. So I'm going to assume, you talked with chest in it and you said what you wanted to say, Carl. It's almost like when you're working a 9 to 5, it's like, people might not address things directly, but they'll go here, there, everywhere and air out laundry and make a scene and things where you could have said exactly how you feel now. So if you genuinely have said that, fair enough. On regret about signing his contract. To be fair, this guy, you know what? This fool on this journalist is lapping it. He's milked it. Fair enough to him, man. Imagine how bad that I have to answer it. Honestly, that hurts. Even the question hurts. This club, signing for this club, I would never regret it. I thought I'm going to renew here and end my career here, but that's not according to the plan. So I'm not regretting signing for the club for sure. So again, retire here. If I'm not getting games, I need to go somewhere. We all know he's a good player, people. Somehow it will end, but the thing in my head is like, why should it end this way? Because I'm too fit. Just 5 months ago, I was winning every individual award. So why should it go in this direction? I'm sorry, everyone in the team is not in his form. Yeah, I'm the only one who has defended himself now. So again, yeah, everybody's thinking up the joint. By all means, get at me, ask questions collectively, but don't make out like if I was in great form, that's the only key. It does help, but it's the only key. And to be fair, it is onslaught. Injuries, frail defensively. Liverpool have had questions that they've papered over, abandoned last season in midfield with a number 6. teething problems in the front line, not defending well enough, and their defensive line, whether it's in recruitment. I think they need another right back. I think they need centre halves. I know there's been injuries. Don't know why Kirkes isn't working. Don't know why Robertson's been dropped. But again, if you're criticizing the whole team and the relationships, why isn't Verts working? Why isn't Kirkes working? What's going on the right-hand side? Why haven't we fixed the void of creativity in Trent Alexander-Arnold's absence? And while Trent and Salah, two quality, world-class, top-class players in their own right, it might not be as good as them. Why isn't the right-hand side sorted? What's going on up front? So if you're saying what's going on with the subs, so if it can't just be Arne Slot, but if you're having these questions about several things tactically from a footballing point of view, that's at the feet of the gaffer. So it's interesting, man. And he is right about five months ago. You know, it was a non-story, me signing a new deal. Now everyone's on me. Now, what is the next step for him with Slot? No, I don't think so. We spoke a lot. There's no relationship between us. It was a very good relationship. And now all of a sudden, there's no relationship. To be fair, rightly or wrongly, that must be how football goes, isn't it? Really and truly, the manager must love you when you're making a difference. It's very different, but it's like Mikel Arteta. It's not that it's right, but when Aubameyang allegedly is coming late to training and all these things, and he's your star man, you can kind of put on with it in it. But when the team's stinking up the joint and they might be doing something like that, suddenly the dynamics change. So yeah, it seems like the relationship's broken down. And to be fair, probably Salah's bit his tongue and it's taking a while to get to this, people. Behind the scenes, he said, "You guys know better than me. I don't know. Do you feel let down from your teammates?" He said, no, these guys, they know how much I love them. They know how much I support them, even before the game, inside the game, and after the game. I'm an experienced player. I've been in their position. I've always supported them. I always give them experience. But no. The players, they're not connected to the situation. Even they support me so much. So it's just as much love between us as the players, respect. I'm sure, I don't know if his teammates would like this. Some would probably be happy, some wouldn't. But this is overall, this tells me now that I'm cool with the fans. I fuck with the teammates. I still think I can ask questions of my form, but I'm not being given a fair trial. And I also want to play games. But I would say for Liverpool, this is a mess.